Hi everyone, today we're going to take notes on page 4 and 5 in our notebooks, and we're going to take notes on water pollution. So I split this up into 2 pages so you have plenty of room. If it's a little hard to read this because it might look small on the video, remember you can go to the full set of slides in Schoology and click present so you can see the full screen version, and that might be easier to copy if the words look kind of squished together. Sorry about that. So today we're talking about how water gets polluted and some words we can use to describe water pollution. So on page 4, we are looking at the 4 different types of water pollution. So the first type of water pollution is called sediment pollution. Sediment is basically dirt, so anything that is in the dirt, the rocks, the sand, all that stuff that's stuck in the dirt, sometimes it gets into the water and it gets really cloudy. If you go to the creek after a big rainstorm, sometimes you can see how dirty the water looks, like it's brown, and that's what we call sediment pollution, and it can make it difficult for plants to live because it's covering the water from getting sunlight. And this can be caused by erosion, which is the breaking down of dirt. Logging, so cutting down trees, will take away the roots that hold the dirt in place, and then the dirt will just fall into the water. Or construction, so if they're building a new house, they have to move a lot of dirt, and sometimes that dirt ends up in the water. The second type of pollution is nutrient pollution. So sometimes too many nutrients get into the water, especially nitrogen and phosphorus from fertilizers that farmers use in their crops. And this can cause eutrophication. And basically what that is the water turns this bright green like you see here, and that's called an algae bloom. And we'll talk about why that's bad on the next page. The third type of pollution is toxic pollution. So like it sounds, it is chemicals or toxins getting into the water. So this can happen from household cleaners, like if you're using some kind of spray and it gets into your water system, and also industrial waste. So big factories are making all this stuff, and sometimes the chemicals they use in their factories get into the water. And the fourth type of pollution is called bacterial pollution. So this is bacteria getting into the water, and this can be caused by animal or human waste getting into the water. So there's a picture of a cow in the river, and I'm sure you guys have seen that around town sometimes. And if the cow goes potty in the water, all of its diseases and bacteria also get in the water and can get people and different animals really sick by getting that bacteria in the water. All right, so on page 5, we're gonna write down some vocab on pollution. There will probably be more vocab, but we're just gonna start with these 3 words. And I just split my page in half, and I put the vocab word on one side and the definition on the other side. If there's a way that works better for you, you can organize it that way. But at least if you have the vocab word and definition on your page, that is perfect. So our first vocab word is point source. So this is pollution that is added directly to the water, and like how the way I like to think about it is that I can point to where the pollution is happening. So like this picture of a pipe leaking some chemicals into the water, I can point to it and say, there's the pollution. That's a point source pollution. Non-point source means I can't really point to it. So essentially, this is pollution carried by rain through runoff over the land into the water, and it's pretty difficult to track its original source. So sometimes chemicals or bacteria might come from somewhere else and somehow get into the water, and it's kind of difficult to say exactly how it got there. So we call this a non-point source because we cannot point at it. We can't say, there it is. It's a little like, how did it get here? It must have gotten here somehow, right? So we call it a non-point source. And lastly, our third vocab word is eutrophication. I'm gonna have to say it a couple times in order to get it right. Eutrophication. And eutrophication is when we get too many nutrients in the water, like nitrogen and phosphorus, which are found in fertilizers. And this causes algae to grow. So algae is this green stuff that's on top of the water. And when it's growing, which maybe sounds good, it's actually bad because as it's growing, it's taking all of the oxygen out of the water and not leaving enough for the fish and different animals that live inside the water. So what happens when these algae blooms happen, like this, the water turns really green and you have these teeny little plant looking things on top of the water, it's actually killing everything under it because it's preventing it from getting its own oxygen. So these plants and animals will die from something called hypoxia. And hypoxia is another word for no oxygen. So if animals and plants in the water don't get oxygen, they will die. So eutrophication is when algae grows because of excess nutrients and uses up all of the oxygen, which causes the plants and animals to die in the water. Okay, so if you want to add some pictures to your notes, feel free to do so. Rewatch this video, pause it, go to the slides in Schoology and make it full screen so that might be easier to copy it, and let me know if you have any questions.